certainly do. It's just at the end of a very long rein, usually a bit with a little bit of a shank on it so that the horse feels that contact. It's still reaching for the bit, right? Do polo players have contact? Oh boy, howdy do they have contact. They have to. They're going at high rates of speed, making crazy turns with a hammer in their hand. Yeah, they've got some contact. Hunter jumpers, do they have contact? Yeah, it looks different than dressage. It looks different than jumpers. Those horses aren't supposed to be hot, racing around a ring at high speed, jumping big jumps. They're supposed to be quiet, very steady across all the jumps, right? With a lot nice loopy contact. It's still a contact. Contact is important. It comes from forward. We seek the contact with a forward horse. That's one of our responsibilities, right? You don't just get on a horse and pick up the reins and go, show me magic, because it's not going to happen. You get on the horse and you pick up a light rein and you say, I'm going to show you forward in direction. I want you to find your contact. I'll help you, and I'm going to keep you straight, and then we're going to do really neat things. But it takes time. So why do you think she just didn't get on and just go walk Tropicana real hard right away?
Because you need a proper mount.
But do you know how many people don't do that?
Yeah, so many. I know people like
Me too. I have students that get yelled at all the time. What? It's 20 degrees. Why are you getting on and charging around the ring as if you're going to battle?
because their muscles aren't loose.
Right. And do you think horses are a big muscle mass or a small muscle mass?
They have lots of muscle, but
Huge muscle mass. They're like big radiators. They're hotter than we are normally. They have a giant muscle mass on toothpick legs. So yeah, they absolutely deserve to have a warm-up. So I don't know if you, and everybody should, and I know reading is different these days. Most people read on electronic devices, but there are these beautiful things called books, and they have all kinds of stuff. Nobody's invented anything about riding. It's all, we're just borrowing the knowledge and refining it. It's been written down. There's a book that was written before the birth of Christ about dressage. It's been around a long time. So one of the things that people are saying right now in a lot of articles, big name riders, a lot of Olympic riders, Charlotte Dujardin, who won the gold in the Olympics in Rio last year, was just in Kentucky for a clinic, and she said it too. And now people are like, did you hear what Charlotte said? I'm like, yes. She said, why aren't people walking their horses more? Why? In Europe, that's what they do, like an hour a day before they do any fancy stuff. Because people are we're too silly here. We're too hurried. We think we have to get something going really quickly. Walking is the only exercise that a horse independently uses each of its leg columns separately. So it's a great way to warm up your horse. It's a great way to explain the harder things at a slower gait where you have more control over the forward, over the direction, so they can have control better over their feet. It's a strengthening aid. It's a relaxing gait, okay? So I walk every horse, and it depends on my days too, but every horse gets walked about 20 minutes before I pick up the reins. It gives me a chance to see if my horse is silly or happy or gonna kill me or like bringing her A game into the day. Give yourself the space to do that. Plus you get a lot of clues, you know? So one of the things we're going to be looking at in these riders, and one of these things I want to help you understand too, and trainers talk about this a lot, again, when you're riding by yourself or you're riding with a friend, how do you know you're doing it correctly with nobody telling you? We're going to look for physiological clues in our horses, and when I see them, or when you see them, take note. Because I want you to be able to be riding and say, did I do that right? Ask your horse. Have your horse is going to tell you. They're very expressive, right? If they don't like something, their number one thing is to get away from you, right? Make the pressure stop. I'll shake my head, I'll kick out, I'll rear, I'll buck, I'll smash you against the wall. But if they're good, we don't necessarily know the clues when they're good. So we're going to look at physiological clues, body clues, to see when a horse is relaxed so that we know we're doing the right thing. So you can answer your questions and not wonder, you know. It's important to ride with the trainer. I still do. Sarah still does. Charlotte Dujardin still does. You know, people say, aren't you done with lessons? Oh, maybe the day of my funeral, but not before then. You know, you want to ride till you're dead, really, and you want to be educated and instructed till you're dead. I have goals, of course, as you all do, and so my coach comes in town once a month, and she helps me reach those goals. But it's important that everybody has somebody to help them. But it's also important to ride on your own and decide, am I doing this right? Am I doing it wrong? And there's gray scales to that, right? You could be doing it a little bit correct, but you could be doing more, but you just don't know what that more is yet. We'll show you how to get better clues to do that. So as we're watching this horse, I want you to focus on his hind leg. Now again, he had a suspensory issue, so she's riding at a nice working tempo. Do you see his mouth? Is his mouth dripping? Is that a good sign or a bad sign? Good? Yeah, what does it mean? I mean, just describe what it means to you. Yes? Yeah, why? Right, and a tense mouth cannot, right? And that's a very distinct thing. So what do we all worry about with horses? Ulcers, right? They have a very ineffective digestive system. They need to have a very, very basic pH in order to digest their food. When they're tense, they're not making saliva, so they're dry, and that shows us that they're building ulcers. That's an absolute symptom of tension. So when we see a horse that has a very wet mouth, that's a good sign. It means they're relaxed enough to create saliva. So I would say he's extremely relaxed. And see how he's kind of loading and pushing into the bridle here? And she's not restricting him. She's not dumping the contact either. She's following. There, he just blew his nose. So that's a relaxed horse. So she's allowing for that. So while people will watch upper level riders and say, well, they're not doing anything. Well, they're doing a million things. You just can't see them do it. But she's micro-adjusting her horse every single step he takes. And she's using feeling, and she's probably ridden for a long time. And so that's why this looks like the horse is just doing things and she's just sitting up there. But she's asking for all of these things. She's helping him maintain that straightness, maintain that relaxation, which is going to carry over into everything he does. Does anybody have any questions? Has anybody ridden in a dressage test and didn't understand what their score was or what it meant or what the scribe wrote down or how to do it better? No? You got it? You all got it? So there are a couple places in the tests, and I'm going to focus on, and I did bring some beginner novice, you know the beginner novice tests are different this year. Novice and beginner novice are very different. We're going to practice those because they're weird. All judges agree. So there are several places in a dressage test where the score counts for twice the points. And as a judge, we want to see you nail those coefficient points because it's a place where you can get a lot of points. And they're not hard things to do. One is the free walk. One is the circle, the 20-meter circle, which are circles round all the time. In a dressage test, for some reason, almost everybody puts a corner or a straight edge to it. We have to mark down for that. And people get mad, but it's right here. Regularity and quality of canter, shape and size of circle, 20 meters, bend and balance. So if we can't answer this question, we can't award full points. The free walk is a big deal. Free walk is kind of misunderstood, so I hope to help you with the free walk as well for the riders, so that we can see how to make it better. And again, I'm not all for just showing to get points. I'm all for showing the judge what your horse knows and what you can do so that you can continue to move on. It's nice to do well. It's nice to be rewarded when you show in any discipline. But just because you wanna and just because you brought your horse doesn't mean it's gonna happen. You have to show the judge what they're looking for. So most of you ride English or Western? English. Do you jump?
Yep.
Okay, so you know all about judges. And then, are you ride hunter jumper?
Yeah.
So you know exactly that it's like you leave the ring and you're like, what are they looking for? Because there are some people that you think should not really place this high. And you might have had a terrific trip with a lovely round, with a lovely regular canter, with perfect lead changes and good quality distances. But for some reason it didn't make the mark, and that's frustrating. Yes, ma'am?
I ride a 5-year-old warm blood, and we're still working on trying to stretch out because he holds his head super high like a giraffe.
Okay. So when you ask him to walk forward, what does he do?
He'll comprehend that,
But he still keeps his head high. So the best thing to do with that horse, you have availability to get him outside on a trail, or because trails, we have 500 acres, so we take our babies out on the trails to teach them forward. There's trees on each side, so they can either crash or go forward. And you just keep asking them for more tempo, more energy, more speed, if you will, and keep pushing that bridle forward. What kind of fit do you ride him? Just a big snaffle. You know, and a lot of those big horses take so long for that back muscle to develop. And think about it, to hold your head up, you sink your back as a horse, not a human necessarily. But so as that back gets stronger, he'll have a lot more confidence to hang that heavy neck and head down and still be able to travel. It's a choreography of muscle parts. They have to, the energy starts in the hindquarters. Are we all satisfied with that answer? Energy starts in the hindquarters, okay? It does not start in the front ever. Energy starts in the hindquarters and pushes up that big back through the muscles to the bridle, back to the rider's seat, who recycles it forward with a half halt, which we'll talk about as well. So when they're not strong, and warm bloods take a long time to develop. I mean, my Dutch mare took till she was like 10 before I could really trust her. So once they have that strong hind end and they can push that energy through and lift that back and then trust that they're not going to fall into the dirt, they'll stretch their neck out. So a 5-year-old, and you said he's big?
He's 17.
So he's got a little more growing to do. So your best thing to do for him is, again, the arena is lovely. This is we call it the riding school, because the straight, long sides teach a horse to go straight and forward. The corners teach a horse to bend. The short sides are just for the horse. They get to breathe. Yeah. So use that at the walk to teach him to be straight, and then take him out and let him stretch. And you have to show them the ground. You have to be like, look, like a kindergarten teacher. I'm giving you all the reins. Could he be naughty? Of course. But you've got to give him the space to be good. Knowing that he could be naughty, but in your mind, you're just like, you're the best horse. You're a saint. You're going to be a good boy. You have to show them the ground, and you just keep offering it and offering it and offering it. They will change.
And he's usually pretty lazy after that.
Oh yeah, warm bloods. Well, they're not called warm bloods for nothing. And I love them. I have warm bloods, but nothing beats a thoroughbred for energy. But they tend to get tense and quick. Warm bloods are lovely. They just take a longer time to develop in their body and in their brain, and they tend to be a little lunky to the leg. You just need a little more encouragement. That sounds like a fun horse to have. So this is a really nice picture that we can see here. He's taking a nice, active, even step in the hind end. What do you think happens if they don't step evenly in the hind end? What would happen with the horse's body? What would that feel like? I know you know these answers. Would they walk evenly?